We have to look at the notion of being educated versus the notion of being schooled.
Trish has a name for the traditional education model, and it is not flattering.
The 1950s school model, to me, I call it cemetery rows. You put kids in cemetery rows, and you put the teacher up front, and the teacher spews whatever knowledge they have. The kids grab onto whatever knowledge they can, they take a little test, and we move on to the next subject. That's not how we expect them to perform when they leave the school environment. We expect them to solve problems. We expect them to learn a lot of different tools, apply those tools. We expect them to ideate, right, and create. And you can't do that if someone is telling you exactly what to do instead of inspiring kids. And we need to inspire kids if we're going to, as a nation, continue to call ourselves the best nation in the world.
Often when you have communities or scholars of color or scholars who come from poverty, we lower our expectation and we don't have rigorous instruction. There is a group of people who believe that some young people just aren't born to do great things, and we have to call that out.
Because right now we have like an apartheid style education system. There's a track for poor kids, there's a track for, rich kids, there's a track for white kids, there's a track for black and brown kids. And this apartheid style education system, we're nowhere near thinking about equality. We're nowhere near getting to the point where the kids are going to be able to achieve at the same level.
If you look in the public school scene in our advanced placement, there's this notion that the black and brown kids are not really smart enough, that affirmative action has let them into these classes, and that now the teacher is going to dumb down the curriculum, and my brilliant cherub is now going to suffer.
Tracking out is something Trish Milanist-Zico experienced firsthand.
I was a very good student in 8th grade in math. When I went to the high school that had a number of other cities feed into it, I was immediately tracked to the lower math track. And I had to go to school, summer school, every single year all the way through college to stay on track to where I should have been in the first place.
Despite setbacks, Trish was awarded a full basketball scholarship that paid for her degree in computer science. She worked for 15 years in the high-tech industry. At age 39, Trish was one of Microsoft's young millionaires and senior diversity administrator for the company. Noticing how few people of color worked in high-tech jobs, she decided to tackle the problem upstream. She quit Microsoft and used her own money to help establish Technology Access Foundation, known as TAF Academy, a 6th through 12th grade STEM-focused neighborhood public school.
I have a career in computer science, and what I wanted to do is to make sure that students who look like me had an opportunity to be programmers, to be engineers, to do all the things that our current industries have now, and then to do things that we don't even know what the new industries are going to be.
When you say STEM school, not a lot of people know it. Like, not a lot of kids say, oh, I'm STEM, I know what STEM is.
STEM is a curriculum based on 4 specific disciplines: science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Rather than teach the 4 as separate subjects, STEM interweaves them into real-world, project-based applications.
And it is our job to sort of open up those doors for them and have them view STEM as like a fun, enjoyable career, because it actually is.
TAF Academy's mission is also to make these skills available to underserved scholars of color and young women who are often tracked out of math and science in the traditional school system.
The most critical point of our young females is we lose them in middle school through all STEM fields. That's when they turn away from science and math. And I make sure every day that I'm focused on those females and making sure that they find that passion and that love for math and science.
I personally know a female who just kind of told me one day, I'm not smart enough. I wouldn't be able to be in a school like yours. And I said, no, this school is for everyone.
For students who have very supportive homes, that we're an extension of their home, and kids who have challenging homes, we're a respite from their home. And when they come here, they know they're respected, they know they're loved, they know that they can support each other. Then learning can happen. Then you can put things, they'll try anything if they feel like they're supported. And I mean, we've pushed kids to, 3-4 grades ahead just to see what they can do. And you'd be surprised at what they're willing to try.
And it's funny, like even within the 8th grade class where they're focused on architecture, engineering, you know, I really push them academically, and I have them read things that are way above like high school level, and it's okay. I'm like, we're gonna sit here and we'll look up the words together, but I want you to know that like that kind of work at the college level is at your reach, and you can do it, and they are successful in the classroom when they're given that opportunity.
Every kid has their own genius, and it's our job as the adults to find it and to foster it.
Sometimes genius is revealed by a lone hand raised in the back of the class.
I threw out a question like, what's 1/16 more than 5/8 of an inch? Expecting them all to be like, oh, I don't know, like, I need to write it down. And this kid in the back of the room shot his hand up and was like, 11/16. And everybody in the classroom was like, what? Like, who is this kid? Like, that was magic.
13
And I mean, it turned out that he does construction, and he's been working with his like family business. And here's a quiet Latino boy who could have otherwise been like on the fringes of this classroom. But here's a student who I can tell, you know, when we're doing a lab, he's going to make extremely precise measurements. And as far as like the skills that a scientist needs to have, that's like number one.
Today, over 800 public school students partake in TAF's STEM project-based education. Students are chosen by lottery with a long wait list.
We have a high graduation rate, 95% on-time graduation rate. 100% of our kids have gotten accepted to college, and 91% went to college right after graduating high school. We're not trying to get them ready to be a programmer at Microsoft or Google or whatever. Like if they want to do that, that's great, but we're also teaching them to be entrepreneurs.
We have some students that are starting fashion companies. We have some students that are doing gaming controllers. The team in the back is doing a company called, what is it, Shadow Makers?
We can create more schools like this. This is not a unicorn, right? This is unique, but it doesn't have to be.
However you want to do your logo, we're pretty open to whatever your method is. It just needs to look professional.